Hi, I'm Matt, here in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Today, Matt and I are taking a look at the 1995 film GoldenEye. This is a film that Matt and I meant to get to earlier in this year, but the current 007 film, No Time to Die, has been pushed back, and then pushed back, and is kind of in limbo now. But this movie stars Pierce Brosnan, Sean Bean, Isabel Scorupco, Famke Janssen, and introduces Judi Dench as the character of M. It is directed by Martin Campbell, who is also the director of Vertical Limit, The Mask of Zorro, The Legend of Zorro, Green Lantern, and Casino Royale.
This movie came out. There was a 6-year gap between this movie's release and its predecessor. This movie basically helped restart the franchise. This is the first. Oh my goodness! Wow, Matt.
We're having a rough time with this one.
Yeah, no doubt. There was a 6-year gap between this movie's release and its predecessor, and this movie helped revive the franchise. This is the first James Bond film to feature Pierce Brosnan as the famous spy, and the first to not take story elements from character creator Ian Fleming. James Bond is trying to find information and hunt down the person who took a Russian secret weapon known as GoldenEye. He's later confronted by an old friend and former 00 agent. GoldenEye had a $60 million budget and earned more than $352 million. It has received mostly positive reviews from critics, and many people see it as the best Brosnan Bond film. There's also a video game based on this movie that is arguably one of the best console shooters of all time. Randall, this is one of my favorite James Bond films, but I want to know what you think about GoldenEye.
Honestly, this is my favorite James Bond film. God, I can speak. You're gonna have.
Yeah, I know. This one I can't speak either.
You're gonna have a lot of boop boop. Okay. This is my favorite James Bond film. And it's my favorite James Bond film for a couple of reasons. Similar to with Doctor Who, it's more of who was your first James Bond, and this was really my first James Bond that I really associated myself with. I'd probably seen some Sean Connery or Roger Moore before it, but this one is my generation James Bond. And I think it does a great job as a James Bond film of bringing the series into a little bit more serious tone, but also having some of the fun, gadgety things that we came to enjoy from some of the original Sean Connery and the admittedly over-the-top Roger Moore. I think it sits right in the middle.
Don't touch that! It's my lunch.
Rand, I'm in the same boat as you. This is probably the first James Bond movie that really introduced me to the character. I did same thing, see a little bit of like the Dalton films and the Sean Connery films. I'm not as big of a Dalton fan. I thought those were maybe a little bit too hard, but like you said, it brings back the charm of some of the previous Bond films without going too far. We still get those one-liners or whatever from James Bond, the play on words and stuff to add a little bit of humor to this film.
She always did enjoy a good squeeze.
I mean, not to get off topic of GoldenEye itself, but then the Pierce Brosnan films from here, they get more into like Roger Moore Bond campiness, where it all becomes about gadgets and how high-tech things can get, and at one point you get an invisible car, and that just is ludicrous. I just think GoldenEye has a good grounding, even if the weapon is all science fiction, electromagnetic pulse. It's still grounded enough without being dark and gritty. We don't get into Casino Royale territory, which I know is also one of my favorite. Not as good as GoldenEye in my opinion, but this one just hits the middle ground for a lot of people, I think, and especially in our age group, our introduction to the character.
I like, too, how we have a returning character with Q, who still, with the gadgets and stuff, it gives us connection to some of the previous Bond films, but also another character kind of shows that this is a new Bond film. Mentioned Judi Dench as M, and it's really good that she's kind of self-aware or bring some self-awareness to the Bond franchise. A big part of Bond films, a lot are like the beautiful women and kind of, James Bond is that suave person. But Judi Dench kind of, calls him out.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
So it's good that this movie has that kind of, it knows about some of the going themes of Bond films and stuff. And speaking of that, I really do like the female characters in this. We have On the Top, who, yes, her name is kind of like some of the previous ones, like Pussy Galore and stuff. But she is a deadly character, and I do think that Jennison, she basically squeezed out as much as she could out of this character. So for what she was given with. But also going on kind of like the character with Natalia. The one thing I'd say, she's pretty good, but it's kind of interesting that she kind of goes, like back and forth. For some parts of the movie, she's a really smart, independent, very capable character. And other times, she's not quite the damsel in distress, but she's the one that's kind of like being led around by James Bond and hiding and stuff, and gets captured a few times. But then again, James Bond gets captured a few times in this film too. And if it's not for her character, James Bond doesn't survive a lot of those situations.
Yeah, that's 100% true. But dang, if she wasn't super annoying as an NPC in GoldenEye stupid library mission. Get out of the way! Close the door! Stay. Anyways. And you really can't talk about GoldenEye without talking about the really excellent portrayal of Sean Bean, playing Alex Trevelyan. He is a really good James Bond villain. One-time 00 who fakes his own death and does all of this, steals a top secret helicopter, steals a top secret Russian, space weapon, all to basically get back at England, and steal money. It's straight, Die Hard.
Welcome to the party, pal.
It's a good, easy to understand motives, well portrayed by Sean Bean.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. A lot of the good James Bond villains, I think, also give us a vision or view into the James Bond character. And that's the thing about with the writing in this. Sean Bean's character was friends with James Bond when they were double O's. They basically know almost everything about each other, even though James Bond didn't really know Sean Bean's character's history as much. But they're both orphans and stuff. And what makes Sean Bean, very formidable, like I was alluded to, is that he knows everything about James Bond. So he's almost always one step ahead or knows how James Bond is going to react in different situations.
And I think it's important to note that this is also that first James Bond film. Like you said earlier, there's a 6-year gap. This is the first one that the Soviet Union has been dissolved. There are constant references to the Soviet Union that was. Judi Dench mentions it, and then you get it again with Sean Bean's character and Alex Trevelyan, and obviously the Russian agents in this are all old enough to have been a member or organization of the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union still has some hold on this film, but it is an interesting, different world that they're in without the Soviet Union just being the big bad guy.
I really do enjoy this movie for all the reasons that we said before. The acting is really good, action-packed. You get everything that you want from a James Bond film. You get all the gadgets, the corpse, even the beautiful Bond women in this film and stuff too. I think all around it is a great Bond film and one of my favorites for sure.
Can't agree more. It is my favorite James Bond film, although I reserve the right to change my opinion. New James Bond films might be released sometime. Let us know what you guys think about GoldenEye. It's an oldie but a goodie. We have lots of different flashback reviews, so make sure to go check out that playlist if you haven't. We post new videos every Monday and Thursday, so come back, check us out. If you liked this video, give us a like on this video. If you want to see more, give us a subscribe and ring the bell icon if you always want to know when we are releasing. We also have a Facebook page. Make sure to check us out on Facebook. We always let you know the day before what we're posting the next day. For now, I'm Randall here in Texas. See everyone later.
And I'm Matt here in Michigan. Have a good day. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.